Hello and welcome to today's video. This time we're having another look around the Plymouth Retro and Collectibles show. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so once again we're back at the Plymouth Life Centre, and that's generally, it's like the local sports centre, swimming pool and what have you, and they do have rather large basketball and badminton courts, which are often used for events and shows, and this is no exception. So we've got this is maybe the third or fourth time we've been to the Plymouth Retro show, and this first stall, just as you come inside the door, had a nice selection of some vintage Star Wars and some modern Star Wars. There was a fair bit of Lego on offer today as well. I think in total there was about 20 stalls at the event, a few familiar faces, a few new faces as well. I certainly bumped into loads of people who I knew personally, because it's my hometown, and people I hadn't seen for a while as well. So great to bump into all of them and stop and chat. I think I spent as much time chatting with people as actually looking around the show this time around. Nice little run of Pez's there. They were quite nice, and some annuals as well. Yes, good stuff there. And what I found with a lot of these stalls, it was predominantly memorabilia and collectibles from the 80s upwards, right up bang up to date in actual fact. There wasn't a lot pre-1980, bits and pieces really, very little 50s and 60s, although there was one stall with some vintage die-cast on, which I managed to get round and film everybody. I was in fairly promptly with the early entry people, and managed to get round about half of the tables before it got a bit tricky, but I still managed to get everything. Certainly it was a real mixture show. There was a few themed stalls, like Lego or Star Wars or what have you, but on the whole the stalls were a real miscellany of stuff. So you had to keep your eyes peeled for what you might be after. Now, I went along with my friend Callum, and he was on the lookout for some die-casts. I bumped into a few other friends as well while we were there. As far as I know, I think my friend George bought a couple of bits and pieces, and my friend John bought this nice Star Wars header, which I managed to capture on film at the end of the video. But apart from that, I don't think any of my other friends actually found anything to buy this time around. I also didn't find anything myself. There was no early Matchbox or anything like that on offer this time around. A few bits and pieces I stopped and had a look at, but they weren't quite up to scratch, so I gave those a miss. But when it's on your doorstep, you don't want to not go along, because you just never know. And it was great to see it all anyway. This was just a really great stall full of retro gaming stuff, and I think PlayStation 1 was about as far back as they went, but then they went through and did the more, worked their way through the more modern systems, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and the GameCube, PlayStation 3, the DS, PS4. Some good stuff there. And the Xbox 360. I always have glanced my eye over the original Xbox games, but I didn't see anything there that I didn't already have this time round. Yeah, they are. Some good stuff there. A little bit of craft has crept in to this one, and you get the odd like teddy bear stall and things like that, more aimed at the lady collectors. A bit of toy and train and traditional die-cast as well as some more modern die-cast stuff. Yeah, well, you get the idea. This is a fairly typical stall, a real mixture of stuff, 80s, 90s, 2000s. slightly more modern die-casts of the last sort of 20 or so years. And there was plenty to get your teeth stuck into, and plenty of room for the stalls to spread out and put on really decent displays, which is what most of them have done. And basically the hall was like sectioned off, and they went all around the outside, and then there was an island in the middle. I wasn't sure about that little dinky set. It looked original. There is, I think, an equivalent corgi one, which I wouldn't mind getting. Little props around my display case. And they had a few baskets of loose stuff here. A little bit of a mixture, a bit of a rummage stool. Several Bond cars there. These were unusual, these Gundam kits. Really, really nice Japanese. Very distinctive artwork. You don't often see those at shows. And anime characters there. And then something that is around, is very, very plentiful, is the early Star Wars, the mid-90s Power of the Force range. There's a lot of it out there, Phantom Menace toys. These are the like the part work figures. There's the Doctor Who range there as well. Quite a run of those. They're pretty nice models as well. Yeah, quite cool those. Another rummage bag of bits and pieces. There's a few sort of fighting fantasies there. I had a look. There was none of the sort of the later ones, sadly, which are the ones I'd be interested in. Some Wallace and Gromit stuff. That's always nice to see. And I went to that Harlem Globetrotters event, and that's an old Purple Haze sticker. It's mine and George's shop from back in the day. We used to sell toy shop. But yeah, I went to that Harlem Globetrotters event down in the Cornwall Coliseum, 1982. I was at that one. Nice Scalextric set there, the Rallycross minis. And that's the Star Wars header that my friend John ended up picking up. That was interesting as well, a SpongeBob guitar. A nicely presented retro game stall, this. The quality of the stock was really tip-top quality, as you can see. Really, really nicely presented and displayed. So if you're buying retro games, you want it to be the business, and that was really nice. So nicely displayed quality items there. Just caught sight of the seller there. I think he did look a bit like Luigi. So no offense taken there, but no offense made, but I think that was deliberate. Some Thundercats comics as well. They're £10 each, those British ones. Amazing. Yep, some normal good stuff. So this is, there was a fair bit of Funko Pop there, and also our friend Steve Chamberlain, who runs Global Collectibles, was there. Now, Steve doesn't come to many shows, but he has always been quite a good supporter of this one. Now, this was a chat with the Vintage diecast, and he's a local to the area. And yeah, well, he was just, he just brought along his selection of diecast. Callum was having a really good look through these. I don't think in the end he bought any, but there was some good stuff to see. This was the only selection of really vintage toys at the whole show. But, you know, a decent selection all the same. A few classics there, of course. That was quite nice, that early Dinky there. Nice colouring on that, the yellow and orange. And a few more bits there. And the odd train set, and a few Corgi Model Club models up for grabs. Some of the slightly earlier ones there as well. A few little dinkies, Jublo dinkies. Yeah, this is a good stall. I think this is once again, I think this is Steve Chamberlain's one from Global Collectibles. So Steve always puts on a good show. He's always got the latest action figures, and this was no exception. And he had an absolute wall of the Funko Pops, which were busy. People were actually buying them, so maybe they're not as dead as we actually thought. But I've always liked Steve Stock, and he does bring down the very latest imports from the States and that, so he was fairly brisk whilst we were there. But I did get a chance to have a little catch up with him, which was good, because it's been a while. I first met Steve about 35 years ago, when he used to bring stuff down to Purple Haze all those years ago. And there he is, so if you want to get in touch, he's based around Bristol. And capturing the rest of the stalls here. But yeah, as I said, this time round, you know, I had a good look, but there wasn't unfortunately anything for me this time. This is a great stall, full of stuff. But yeah, I did have a look, but sadly, you know, that's sometimes how it goes. Then you'll go to another show and there'll be, you know, more than you can believe, more than you can pick up. It's just the luck of the draw. You never can tell. I vaguely remember having a version of that Weebles Playground when I was a kid. Very vaguely. Some Ghostbusters stuff, still very hot. And Noddy's Toyland. I always go in on the cards. If a dealer's there and they've got a card, I will generally go in, and if you spot something on their store, you can always give them a call then. Just go back and freeze the video. But quite often it's just someone coming along with their spares or bits of collections that they want to get shot of. But yeah, by now, I'm going around the middle bit now, but by now it's there's still people coming in, but it's also got quite busy. This is our friend Julian from the Final Frontier. He's got a shop in Plymouth and Exeter. A few bits and pieces, nice retro bits on his stall there. Some good stuff there. I do love all the old Batman animated stuff. I'd love to collect it if I had the room. Really, really like it. Now, there was a card selling collectible card game, CCG, singles, packs, and sets as well, starter sets, as we can see there. They were pretty busy as well. They were only when they're selling it, and they had a steady stream of customers, I noticed. The sort of traditional girls' market, the teddy bears, dolls, and that weren't so busy. Although this store was a bit of both, and it did have some Lego sets, including some vintage stuff, but it seemed a little pricey to me. But I'm no expert, but it did seem expensive. But there you go, that's Lego for you. It is hot and in demand. That was nice, the old Code Egg cash register. I remember my sister having one of those, a vague version of those, a 70s one, and a little pack of I Spy books, which I looked at, but they were ones I already had, so didn't bother with them. Four quid for 6 wasn't bad. But yeah, on the whole, it really wasn't a bad show. It just, you know, this time round I didn't get lucky. I didn't really find anything that I thought, oh, I'd really like to get that. So it wasn't the end of the world. It's just that's sometimes how it goes. But I believe there are similar shows to this. There's like one in Bristol and Taunton. And generally they're advertised on Facebook. That's where I generally see the adverts for these. So just keep an eye on there. But there we go. So short and sweet this time round, you could say. But nonetheless, it was enjoyable and great fun to meet everybody. And we'll just see my friend John with his Star Wars header in just a minute. If you have enjoyed today's video, obviously do please give it that thumbs up. Do please hit the subscribe button if you've not already. I offer regular Toy Fair videos, Shepton, Matford, and we are definitely planning to go a bit further away. And there's John there with that really nice cardboard Star Wars header. Thanks very much for watching today, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.